He's afraid to lose you, but won't choose you, Carl Jung. He's afraid of losing you, but he won't choose you either. Why? Maybe I have sat in front of a phone screen, looking at the last message with no reply, no breakup, no end, but never a beginning, a nameless, unattached relationship. But every time he disappeared, I felt like I was falling apart. I couldn't call it love, but I couldn't deny the feelings that grew with each time he returned. He was afraid of losing me, right? But why? Still didn't choose. If you've ever been in a relationship where you gave everything but it wasn't enough to keep him, this video is for you. Not to criticize him, but to understand the deeper things behind someone who hovers between loving and leaving. Maybe it's not because you're not good enough. It's because there's something in him that hasn't been healed. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychoanalysts of the 20th century, once said that everything we deny within ourselves becomes a shadow that dominates our lives. And maybe it is that shadow that is the reason why he cannot choose you, even though his heart knows clearly that you are the one he does not want to lose. Jung called it the conflict between the ego, the thing he shows on the outside, and the shadow, the part he always hides, always fears. His ego wants freedom, no strings attached, no commitment. But the shadow is the fear of being abandoned, of being hurt, of being tied to something he is not ready to face. And in the middle of those two parts is you. The person whose mere presence is enough to make him feel like he has to change, to face himself in the most naked way. Have you ever noticed? Every time you start to step back, he comes back. A simple message, a small show of concern, a way to hold on to you without naming the relationship. He doesn't want you to leave, but he doesn't have the courage to keep you, because keeping you means he has to choose. And to choose, he has to be sure of himself, has to understand that he can no longer run from his feelings, from his commitments, from the darkness inside him. But unfortunately, not everyone is emotionally mature enough to do that. Jung once said that becoming a whole person is a painful journey because it requires looking directly at the parts of ourselves that we have denied all our lives. And maybe he is still stuck on that same journey. So, don't be too quick to blame yourself for not being chosen. Maybe you're not the problem. It's him who's not ready to face the truth in his heart. You're not wrong to love sincerely. You're also not wrong to wait for a clear answer. But perhaps what you need most right now is not a choice from others, but a choice from yourself. If you ever feel like you're not enough to be chosen, but too much to be left, then stop for a moment, not to retreat, but to look back. Are you giving too much value into the hands of someone who is not ready to receive it? Are you good enough, but not good enough? If this question makes your heart sink, stay with this video until the end, because you deserve to know why. Not to blame, but to move forward with a clearer heart. Not because you are not enough, but because you are enough. To know that you should not stay in the middle. There is a type of man who, when in love, does not retreat, but does not advance either. They stand there, holding the one they love tightly with warm hugs. Just enough words of concern and timely returns. They make people believe that they are the only one, then immediately make that person doubt their own feelings. Because there is one thing that cannot be denied. They love, but do not choose. Carl Jung called it the unmet shadow. Shadow, the rejected subconscious. The emotions, memories, and pain that a person is not ready for, or has never learned to accept. It could be childhood trauma, a cold mother, or an absent father. It could be the feeling of abandonment in the early years of life, where love always came with conditions. And then, when they grow up, they become men with hearts on chains. They crave love, crave a deep connection, But every time their hearts start to move forward, invisible chains pull them back. The unhealed past does not lie dormant. It sleeps in the dark, waiting for the light of love to touch it, causing them to panic and retreat. And when he meets a woman who is clear enough, secure enough, and serious enough to love and be loved, the shadow starts screaming. The ego, the surface part, can say that he wants a serious relationship, but the shadow, the forgotten part of his soul, whispers, "If you come closer, I will have to show myself." And that is too scary, because underneath the smile, underneath the words, "I'm not ready," is an abandoned child who has never been held. It is the fear of losing freedom, which is actually just a cover for the worry that if others really see you, see everything, they will no longer want to stay, so he chooses not to. He keeps you in a safe zone, not too close to get hurt, not too far away to lose. He calls it not wanting to hurt you, but really, he's protecting himself from the pain he doesn't have the courage to name. Carl Jung once said, "You cannot become whole without facing your darkness," but not everyone is ready to do that. Emotional maturity doesn't come from age. It comes from having the courage to look at the parts that have been buried, to face the fact that you are still afraid, still hurt, still unhealed. He may truly love you, but love is not enough to build a relationship if he is still a piece of himself. He cannot commit to you when he has not committed to his feelings. He cannot keep you, because keeping you means keeping responsibility, maturity, and clarity, things he has never learned in his own life journey. Maybe he was left behind. Maybe he learned to be strong by hiding his feelings. And when you came along, not just as a lover, but as a mirror that showed him what he wanted to forget, he was thrown into a crisis. Your presence made him realize he wasn't ready. And instead of moving on, he turned away. Not because you weren't enough, but because he wasn't enough. Imagine a man standing in a dark room where all the old memories are still alive. He hears you calling from outside, the light seeping through the cracks in the door. But every time he tries to leave, some invisible hand of disappointments, of not being chosen, of love with conditions, holds him back. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he doesn't know how to get out. And you, standing outside, holding a lamp in your hand, wondering why he didn't come. You think you're not warm enough. You wonder if you should try a little harder. But the truth is, you can't save someone who still wants to stay in their own darkness. He didn't choose you because he didn't choose himself. He didn't choose healing. He didn't choose courage. He didn't choose facing. He didn't choose to be real. And it's not your fault. Carl Jung once said, "We do not become what we want to be by imagining light, but by making darkness conscious." The man you love may lose you, not because you let go, but because he never really held on. And if you understand that, perhaps you will also understand that no one can love another person in a healthy way when they still reject themselves. You're not the bright light that scares him. You're just a mirror that reflects the realist part of him, the part he's still running from. And sometimes, the only thing you can do is stop standing in the doorway, because the only one who can come out of the dark room is him. You may have thought, "I'm not good enough, so he didn't choose me." But what Carl Jung pointed out is the exact opposite. He said that we are attracted to what is not yet integrated within ourselves. In other words, you are not the problem. You are the mirror, a mirror that reflects the deepest, most incomplete part of him, the part he has spent his life hiding, avoiding, not looking at. When you walk into his life with a clear heart, with an open heart, with a willingness to commit, it doesn't thrill him. It scares him. Because your fullness is the perfect antithesis to his lack. You don't play tricks. You don't push and pull. You don't make love a struggle. You come across as that simple but rare thing. Someone who knows who they are and what they want. And it was that presence that made him feel seen. Not that anyone was ready to be seen. Seen not through longing eyes, but through a direct light shining into the darkest places in his soul, where he hid all the hurts, all the fears, all the memories he never dared to name. You came with a security he was not used to, in a world where he had to pretend to be strong. You came with a heart gentle enough to understand, but strong enough to not accept half-heartedness. And that did not make him comfortable. On the contrary, it made him feel naked. It felt like you saw not only him now, but also the parts of him he wanted to forget. The abandonments, the failures he never told. The love he received was only to be cold. You don't know that every honest word you say, every unjudgmental look you give is a mirror that doesn't distort, doesn't soften, doesn't paint. And in that mirror, he sees himself. Not the person he's been trying to make himself out to be, but the person he really is. Unhealed, uncertain, not brave enough to love properly. That's why the more obvious you are, the more he retreats. The more real you are, the more ambiguous he becomes. The closer you get, the more he feels like he has to back away. Not because you're too much, but because you're too real. And the truth, if we're not ready, always hurts. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life, and you will call it fate." He never understood that you were his chance to heal. But to heal, he had to look at himself. He had to take off the mask he wore every day. He had to admit that he was weak, that he had hurt, that he had made wrong choices. And not everyone has the courage to do that. So instead of moving forward, he turned away. You are not someone who is not good enough. You are someone whose presence makes it impossible for others to hide. You are the mirror that makes it impossible for him to pretend anymore. You make the hidden visible. And in that chaotic inner world, he chooses to do what many have done before you. Blame the light. Instead of asking himself why, he is afraid of the dark. So you find yourself abandoned, even though you did nothing wrong. You find yourself cast aside, even though you loved with all your heart. But you are not abandoned because you are not worthy. You are abandoned because you make others feel too self-conscious. And that, to those who are not ready, is an unnameable fear. You may have thought, if I were less loving, less clear, or less demanding, he would stay. But that would make you a dull version of yourself, just to fit in with someone who isn't ready to see the light. And that's not love. It's making peace with someone else's darkness by dimming your own light. No one should have to do that. No one should have to shrink themselves to fit someone else's limitations. You weren't born to be the comfortable choice. You are the mirror. And not everyone is brave enough to look into it. But that doesn't make you any less valuable. Jung believed that every encounter is symbolic. You don't come into someone's life by accident. You come as an opportunity, an invitation for the other person to face their truth. But that invitation may be rejected, not because you're not enough, but because they're not ready. And that's when you need to remember, you're not here to be chosen. You're here to be real, to love real, to be yourself, not some version of yourself that's been edited to make others feel better. If someone can't look at you without seeing themselves, it's not your fault. It's their limitation. You are not an option. You are the mirror. And the one who is truly meant for you is the one who dares to look into it, even if they see the bad things and still stay. Because they know true light does not blind, It makes people see more clearly. And seeing clearly is the first step to truly loving. There is a paradox that few people admit. Sometimes people love you truly, but still cannot choose you. Not because you are not good enough, but because love, if it is only emotion, is never enough. Carl Jung called it the journey of individuation, the process by which each person goes from fragments to wholeness, from the social self to the true self. An incomplete person, not fully connected to himself, will always love by instinct, by the desire to be filled, to be saved. They do not seek connection, they seek sensation. Such a person does not love by presence, but loves by the fear of loss. Not loving to grow together, but loving to keep something that makes them forget the emptiness within themselves. He is afraid of losing you, it is true, because you touch his deepest, softest, most vulnerable part that he does not let anyone else see. When he is with you, he does not need to wear a mask or try to be strong. With you, he can be himself, naked, defenseless. And that is what makes him panic. Because in order to be himself in front of another person, he must dare to be himself in front of himself first. But if the journey to becoming a whole individual has not yet begun, then loving you, someone so real, so clear, so complete, is something that is too much to bear. You don't love by need. You love by choice. You come to him not to be filled, but to build together. You don't want to become someone to be kept. You want to be yourself and still be loved as such. But for an incomplete person, that is unacceptable. They have never learned to stay with something real for too long. They are used to chasing an illusion, a person they can't touch, a love that is never clear. Because of that, they are allowed to continue living in ambiguity, without having to grow up, without having to face it. Jung once said that people are attracted to what is not integrated within themselves. You come as a perfect reflection of what he desires, but has never dared to hold on to. A woman who knows her worth, who is not ambiguous in her feelings, who does not play catch-up. A woman strong enough to walk away if she is not treated as she deserves. And that is not the type of woman he is used to. When he faces you, he's not just facing love. He's facing a choice. Choosing you means choosing change. Choosing to step out of the comfort zone of in-between. Choosing commitment. Choosing growth. And that's something he's not ready to do. So he stands at the threshold of truth and turns away. He may text you missing you. He may come back whenever you start to drift away. But he will never say it clearly. He will never really choose you. Because choosing you means choosing himself first. And the journey to becoming a whole person, as Jung said, not everyone dares to start. It requires us to go through fear and loneliness, to let go of illusions about ourselves, and to rebuild from scratch. And that, to him, is still too big. You thought, maybe I'm not enough to make him sure. But the truth is, you are more than enough. So much so that your certainty becomes a mirror of his uncertainty. You thought, I should be softer, more vague, less clear. But what you don't realize is that clarity is a gift. Because you don't love to be saved. You love to share. You don't need anyone to complete you. You've done that for yourself for a long time. But perhaps what hurts you the most is not the rejection, but the fact that no one said anything. The relationship never ended because it never began. It existed in limbo, in superficial touches, in silences so long that your heart had to write its own reasons to understand. And then you began to doubt yourself. You began to believe that you were too much, too clear, too pressured. But the truth is, you were just loving the right way, with someone who didn't know how to love the right person. There are people who don't need you to change. They need you to be yourself, clear, whole, and real. But they can only come when they have gone through their own journey of individuation, when they no longer love out of fear of being left behind, but love with the ability to be present. When they no longer love to find a part of themselves, but love to build with someone who has found themselves. You can't teach someone to grow emotionally just by staying. Growth doesn't come from enduring. It comes from making a personal decision. When a person wants to understand themselves, wants to heal, and wants to love not to be fulfilled, but to be accompanied. And if you ever thought that love was enough, you might need to hear this. Feelings are necessary, but never enough. Only when feelings are accompanied by awareness, responsibility, and choice does love become something that can be nurtured. Otherwise, it is just a flash of light in the dark, beautiful, bright, but unable to light up the whole path. He is afraid of losing you, but he doesn't choose you because a part of him is still lost. And you don't need to wait for someone who hasn't found himself yet to start building something solid. You just need to keep walking with the whole heart that you have spent your whole journey nurturing. Because a whole person deserves to be loved by someone who is also walking on the path to becoming themselves, not someone who is still standing on the threshold of the truth. There is a moment that one never forgets. Not when you get angry, not when you cry, not when you beg for clarity, but when you shut up, when you stop waiting, when you stop trying to explain, stop trying to reason, stop taking your presence for granted in someone's life. Carl Jung once said, "Conscious withdrawal is an act of power." And that's what happens when you decide not to stay. No fuss, no accusations, no demands. Just quietly disappearing from the role you've played for so long. You were the one who was always there. The one who replied to a text message even in the middle of the night. The one who forgave without an apology. The one who waited for things that were never promised. You weren't weak. You just believed that love, if sincere enough, would change people. You stayed. You were patient. You were hopeful. To the point of forgetting that sometimes love doesn't require more effort. It just requires letting go at the right time. And then one day, you get tired. Not tired because the other person did something wrong, but tired because you have neglected yourself for too long. Tired of having to ask, am I asking for too much? When all you need is a clear statement, a straightforward choice, an unforced presence. Tired because you are used to loving with all your heart while the other person is only halfway there. So you stop. And that's when everything changed. Your withdrawal confuses the other person. They are used to you always being there. They are used to being loved without expecting anything in return. They are used to your constant gaze, your ready tenderness, your limitless tolerance. They don't think you will leave. And when you do it quietly, without arguing, without crying, without blaming, they begin to feel insecure. Because what happens when the one who was always there is no longer there? The answer is, everything around them begins to shake. The system they depend on, where you play the role of sacrificer, the one who endures, the one who carries the emotional weight for both of you, begins to crumble. They no longer have anyone to reassure their ego, to fill the void, to make them feel loved even when they're not ready to love back. And when that void becomes apparent, they panic. Not because they've lost you, but because they've lost the reflection that made them feel whole. You become dangerous. Not because you do anything, but because you do nothing anymore. You don't respond immediately. You don't give in. You don't use love as an excuse to forgive what isn't deserved. You don't get angry, but you don't soften either. And it's that silence that speaks the loudest. Your absence forces the other person to face themselves and the parts of themselves that they might otherwise have avoided if you were there. Jung said that the shadow emerges when the light is gone. When you step back, their shadow is no longer hidden by your gentle light. It is revealed. The fear of being alone, of being abandoned, of not being seen for who they are begins to grow. But this time, you are not there to soothe them. You are no longer the one helping them escape the darkness. And so, you are no longer an object of their control. You are a threat to the system that exists by making you feel like you always have to do more. You used to think that silence was a form of tolerance, but it wasn't. Silence, when you know what you deserve, is a declaration. It says, I'm not waiting anymore. Not waiting for you to change. Not waiting for you to choose. Not waiting for you to be ready. Because I've been ready for a long time. Ready for a healthy love. Ready to be seen, to be fully accepted. Not to love forever in a vague way. And when you stop waiting, you reevaluate yourself. You look at yourself, not through the eyes of others, but with the honest presence of your own heart. You realize that you are not a failure because you loved wrongly, but a brave person because you dared to retreat when you knew that love cannot heal someone who is not ready to heal himself. What happens when you disconnect from a toxic relationship? You don't become numb. You return to your own healthy boundaries. You stop letting your emotions be manipulated. You stop letting your kindness be taken for granted. You stop getting caught in a cycle where the other person is just enough to keep you together, but not enough to keep you whole. Your disappearance is not a loss. It is a necessary end, so that the other person, if they are truly capable of change, has to choose. And if they don't choose, at least you have chosen yourself. You don't have to withdraw to punish someone. You withdraw to protect yourself. You stop not because you stop loving, but because you start loving the right person. And the first person has to be you. Your absence will be a silence loud enough for the other person to hear the echo of their own avoidance. And if they are mature enough, they will come back. Not to drag you back to the same middle ground, but to stand beside you as someone who has learned to face themselves. And if not, you're okay, because you've stepped out of the old cycle. You're no longer the person they call when they feel empty. You're no longer the person who makes their immaturity comfortable. You're the person who has chosen silence, chosen distance, chosen not to be a mirror for others to reflect their imperfections. And from that moment, you are no longer the one waiting. You are the person whose absence leaves others wondering, how did I miss something so obvious? And the answer, as Jung once said, lies not with you. It's always in the path they never dare to face. Perhaps what torments you most is not that he didn't choose you, but that you chose him over and over again, while he wavered between staying and leaving. You thought that if you were patient enough, loving enough, and forgiving enough, he would change. But there are journeys that can only be started from within. And that journey, the journey to becoming a complete individual, as Carl Jung called individuation, no one can do it for you. Individuation is a journey of awakening. It is when we stop looking for perfection from others and learn to turn inward, listen, and understand ourselves. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. It does not happen in a single moment. It is a slow, painful, step-by-step encounter with the parts of ourselves that we have denied for so long. As Jung said, we do not become enlightened by imagining light, but by making darkness conscious. And that is nothing less than choosing yourself after all. He didn't choose you, but that doesn't define you. It just means he wasn't ready. And if you're brave enough to walk through the pain, you'll understand that not being chosen doesn't mean you're not worth it. It just means you've been given the chance to get back to what matters most, choosing yourself. Choosing yourself is not rejecting love. It is putting love in its right place. It is loving others without forgetting to love yourself. It is being able to give completely, but also being strong enough to walk away if the same sincerity is not returned. It is understanding that love is not a plea, but a resonance between two souls clear enough to walk together. You used to think that being chosen was the destination, but in fact, being able to choose for yourself, to choose how to live, how to love, and how to leave is true freedom. And that freedom begins the moment you no longer need anyone to prove your worth. The moment you no longer wait for a text, a promise, or an affirmation from someone who is not ready. If you've ever been the one who wasn't chosen, let this be your commitment. I choose myself. No need for validation. Just be real enough, true enough, to look back at my own journey and say, I used to love wholeheartedly. I used to wait. I used to believe. But now, I choose not to trade my clarity for the half-heartedness of others. I choose not to continue chasing a heart that is not ready to open. I choose not to continue playing the role of the emotional bearer for two people. I choose myself, with my wounds, with my falls, with my lessons learned through tears, and with the strength that grows from within. You don't have to end up resentful. You don't have to prove anything. The fact that you're walking away in silence is a statement. A message that says, I deserve a clear love. And if it doesn't come from you, I'll still live. He's afraid of losing you. But you don't need to be chosen anymore. Because for the first time, you chose yourself. And that is the bravest, most beautiful choice that only those who have truly been lost in the darkness can fully understand the meaning of light.